I was in between books. You know, the gap where you've finished a book, but the next one hasn't come in the mail yet, or you're too lazy to go to the bookshop or library. In these gaps, I instinctually go to our overflowing bookshelf. I rummage through the volumes like I'm staring at the fridge at 2 a.m., hoping to find something new I know is not there. So in this period in between books, I settled for a classic. I slid out a raggedy paperback, not much larger than an iPhone. Its spine was peeling, and there was a blank sticky note protruding out of the pages that I can only assume was an old bookmark. Opposite of the binding in black Sharpie, 2 splotted names were written over the exposed pages. Ferris and Ferris. In my hands was an old copy of Fahrenheit 451, the same edition that was assigned to me in my sophomore English class. One of the benefits of having older siblings is that they're able to hand down old copies of classics that we knew I was expected to read in the halls of high school. The Great Gatsby, To Kill a Mockingbird, etc. This resulted in sometimes 3 different semesters of worn-in books, each with unique notes, highlights based on the sibling or the English teacher. I've held on to this tattered copy of Fahrenheit 451 because it's one of the selection of books from high school I really loved. And when I mean loved, it just means I actually read it all the way through. I had this strange relationship with English classes. Something about English teachers' intensity about the books and rigidity about grammar and language tended to quell my creativity. So being the mature teenager I was, I tended to just act standoffish to the commitment my teachers yearned to discuss and nerd out with these works. I just kind of coasted. But to be fair to my adolescent self, an aggressively growing high school kid that's forced to wake up at 6:30 a.m., go to school all day, have sports practice, do their homework, and then try to read 50 pages of a novel in their chair without falling asleep is an absurd ask. The 50th anniversary copy that I still have has that iconic period art showcasing Montag clothed in book pages that are burning. His hand over his face, protecting himself from the flames. It's still haunting and mysterious to me. So I pulled it from the shelf and flicked through the book published by mass sci-fi paperback publisher Del Rey. As I started reading, the first pages were tattooed with blue pen underlines and orange highlighter marks. I remembered why my 15-year-old self loved this book. It was direct, imaginative, and stern. The context and meaning of Fahrenheit 451 were obvious, probably a bit too obvious now that I'm rereading it as an adult. But this story, this character, is in an all too familiar world that captivated my teenage self and still has a grip on me. It didn't take long for Bradbury's dystopian vision of a world where books are banned and burnt that a striking prediction of our own world became obvious. In this section, Montag, the protagonist of the story, is coming home from a shift at the fire station. Quote, "Without turning on the light, he imagined how this room would look. His wife stretched on the bed, uncovered and cold, like a body displayed on the lid of a tomb. Her eyes fixed to the ceiling by invisible threads of steel, immovable. And in her ears, the little seashells, the thimble radios tamped tight, and an electronic ocean of sound, of music and talk coming in on the shore of her unsleeping mind. The room was indeed empty. Every night the waves came in and bore her off on their great tides of sound, floating her wide-eyed towards morning. There had been no night in the last 2 years that Mildred had not swum that sea, had not gladly gone down in it for the 3rd time." This section out of the entire book really stood out to me as a prediction of the future. And again, it's not this dystopian declaration about our society. It's the simple act of wearing earbuds while you're sleeping. Now, I know it might be strange that these little things, these little white things, thimble things that we put into our ears can mean so much. But when I reread this section of Fahrenheit 451, I was Mildred. I listened to audiobooks. I listened to podcasts. I listened to the Calm app with these thimble radios in my ear. I know it's kind of meta because you might actually be listening to this podcast with AirPods or headphones, but it surprised me how accurate that description of trying to sleep, trying to calm our mind with these thimble radios, with ocean waves, with talk, with ambient noise is necessary in this world. The distraction, the escape, trying to free ourselves from the thoughts of our mind. It was convicting. I had to put the book down because I wear these things. This snap is part of my everyday life. I wear them when I'm cooking. I wear them when I'm walking the dog, when I'm commuting. And it's something that my wife has brought up. To take these out, to be present, to not drift off. In some ways, these thimble radios are my escape. It's convicting. It's very convicting. And to see it written in a book 60 years prior, to be so accurate. And again, not in this governmental prediction, this societal structure. It's in this really small prediction that Ray Bradbury had in this book that really surprised me. Now, I think these things are good. These little AirPods are great. I can learn. I can experience art. I can listen to podcasts. I can talk to people on the phone. They are really powerful tools of technology that helps me connect, experience, learn, embrace, and calm my mind. But I think when we sacrifice our own thoughts, our own stillness for the sake of the snap and the noise that they've connected to our phone, I think we lose on the ability to drift into our own minds, to escape into our own thoughts, to be present in the world around us, to be present in nature, to connect with people. There's another passage from this book that I think helps me realize the power these AirPods have over me. In this passage, it's the second interaction between Montag and Clarice, his neighbor who he runs into on the streets, and that is opening his mind through her questions, through her personality that is unique for this world, for this time. Quoting Clarice, "I've got to go see my psychiatrist now. They make me go. I make up things to say. I don't know what he thinks of me. He says I'm a regular onion. I keep him busy peeling away the layers. I'm inclined to believe you need the psychiatrist," said Montag. "You don't mean that." He took a breath and let it out, and at last said, "No, I don't mean that. The psychiatrist wants to know why I go out and hike around in the forest and watch the birds and collect butterflies. I'll show you my collection someday." "Good." "They want to know what I do with my time. I tell them that sometimes I just sit and think, but I won't tell them what. I've got them running. And sometimes I tell them I like to put my head back like this and let the rain fall in my mouth. It tastes just like wine. Have you ever tried it?" "No, You have forgiven me, haven't you?" "Yes," he thought about it. "Yes, I have. God knows why. You're peculiar. You're aggravating. Yet you're easy to forgive. You say you're 17? Well, next month. How odd. How strange. And my wife 30, and yet you seem much older at times. I can't get over it." "You're peculiar yourself, Mr. Montag. Sometimes I even forget you're a fireman." Now, may I make you angry again? Go ahead. How did you start? How did you get into it? How did you pick your work, and how did you happen to think to take the job you have? You're not like the others. I've seen a few. I know. When I talk, you look at me. When I said something about the moon, you looked at the moon last night. The others would never do that. The others would walk off and leave me talking, or threaten me. No one has time anymore for anyone else. You're one of the few who put up with me. That's why I think it's so strange you're a fireman. It just doesn't seem right for you, somehow. He felt his body divide itself into a hotness and a coldness, a softness and a hardness, a trembling and a not trembling, the two halves grinding one upon the other. You better run off to your appointment, he said. And she ran off and left him standing there in the rain. Only after a long time did he move. And then, very slowly, as he walked, he tilted his head back in the rain for just a few moments and opened his mouth. This interaction between Montag and Clarice, this back and forth, this chance happening, she just asks questions, and it provokes him to think more, to stop, to stand still. It's in contrast to his wife, who's reserved, disjointed, consumed with entertainment of being plugged in. And I think about these AirPods. A couple days ago, I was really angry, like in that place of rage that I hadn't been in a long time. And when I was a kid, a lot of times the only way I could take out my anger was to throw things, to punch a wall, to scream. And it hadn't happened in a long time, but I was angry and frustrated about something I couldn't control, about an external force that seemed silly, that didn't really matter, but that aggravated me. And as I was walking in the house, I slammed the door and just needed to release something. One of the things I had in my hand was this AirPod case, and I chucked it. I just chucked it into our apartment. It hit the wood floor. One of the AirPods was launched into the abyss. As soon as I released it from my hand, I knew it was a mistake, because I knew the AirPods were one of the most important things that I own. It was my escape, my connection, my entertainment, my distraction. And so I scrambled on the ground, laying flat on the floor, looking for this lost AirPod, knowing if I couldn't find it, I couldn't use it, because I don't think I can afford to buy new ones. So I searched and I searched. And then I remembered Fahrenheit 451. I remembered that section. I remembered Clarice. I remembered Montag. I thought about, when's the last time I stared at the moon? When's the last time I walked outside in silence? When's the last time that I looked up to the sky, let out my tongue, and tasted the rain? I did find that other AirPod, put it back in the case, shut the case, set it down, and I thought about it. So the next day when I walked my dog, I decided to not put in my AirPods. I decided to listen to my dog's breathing, to listen to my breathing, to listen to the wind, to stare at the trees, to notice the grass, the sidewalk, the crumbling brick on the building's walls, the buzz of the city, the sunlight breaking through the clouds, the crispness of the morning. It was a reminder that we don't need distractions to be fulfilled. We don't need to escape to find meaning. And while I still put these AirPods in almost every day, every time I look at it now, I'm reminded of Fahrenheit 451, and I'm reminded to slow down, to unplug, and to listen. And while I don't know if Ray Bradbury had this Apple product in mind when he was writing this story over a half century ago, I do know that he tapped into a universal truth of humanity where we are so tempted to distract our minds and escape that sometimes we forget that silence is good, that space is good, that emptiness is good. So, as much as I'm sharing this with you, I'm saying it to me. I appreciate you listening, whether you're listening through AirPods or a speaker. But after this, take them out of your ears. Walk around, go outside, take a breath. Remember that it's you that's necessary. It's you that is the most important thing in your experience in the world around you, and not these cases and not these ear radios.